Hello and welcome to the second instalment at the geekyteacher.co.uk. Today we're going to be making a game. That game will be based on the ever popular Guess Who, which, if you remember that, it's where you have lots of faces and you have a card and a character and you have to ask questions to try and narrow it down from all the people in front of you. If you don't remember the game, well, hopefully just looking at that picture and that board and the clear enjoyment the children are having should be enough motivation for you to try and bring this into your own classroom. In order to make this game, we're going to be using the triggered animations trick in PowerPoint, which, if you haven't seen in the first post, make sure to go and check it out first so you fully understand what's going on. Okay, the first thing that we need is a shape. This is going to be our card, our picture face. So I'll just put in a rectangle, and I might change the design using the drawing tools. And let's add some text to it. You can add text to any shape by right-clicking and saying Edit Text. So let's make a Guess Who to be used in a language class. So this might be a Spanish class, and we're going to be using lots of different verbs or nouns, and the learners are going to have to try and narrow it down to just one. The next thing that we want to do is add our animation. So, selecting the shape, if we click on the Animations button, we want this shape to be appeared when the slide starts, but then when we click on it, we want it to disappear. So in order to do that, let's add an effect. We've got lots of different exit effects. I'm going to go for a swivel effect. Gives a nice swivel and fade. Let's open up our animation pane to see what we have here. So this animation, we want to have a trigger. We want the shape to disappear when you click on it. So let's assign the trigger to rectangle 3. Why it's called rectangle 3 and not rectangle 1? Well, whenever you open a new slide, it comes with some text boxes by default, and they call themselves rectangles 1 and 2, and to be honest, the naming structure in PowerPoint's really annoying, really frustrating, but there's not too much you can do with it, so that's why it's a good idea to keep your animations pane open and help keep track of the names of the different shapes you have. So at the moment, if we try and view the show, we have our rectangle, we can click on it, and it fades away. And that's the most part of the game. There's really not too much else we need, except maybe some more cards. So once you have the design and the layout of the first card looking good, looking how you want it, it's very, very easy to just right-click and copy, and right-click and paste. And you'll notice, as well as pasting the design and the words, it's pasted the animation. And fortunately enough, PowerPoint is logical enough to recognise that, well, rectangle 3 disappeared when we clicked on rectangle 3, so rectangle 4 should disappear when we click on rectangle 4. So if we were to type some new words on this one, we now have 2 cards. Another short trick, if you want to make lots of cards and make them quicker, well, if we hold down the Control key on the keyboard as we try and move a shape, it will create a copy of it. So I could select all 3 of these, hold the left click, and it looks like I'm going to just move them. If I hold the Control key, it's made copies. So at this point, let's just change a few of the words, add some more text. Maybe we don't want only verbs, we want a few adjectives, possibly some proper nouns. And if you get to a situation where the text is splitting onto 2 lines, well, you might want to make the font a little bit smaller. Another trick you can do is if you right click on the shape and format the shape, then you'll be given some extra options. So I can change the text box of the shape so that, first of all, it can shrink the text on an overflow. So that means if there's lots of lines of text, then it will make the entire font smaller. It won't change just if there's one line which the font is too big on, unfortunately. But we can also change the margins so that it can get tighter to the sides. So there's still quite a lot of white space here, so we can make the right margin smaller. We can make the top and the bottom margin smaller. And I think this text will need to get maybe one size down, and now it fits. We may have wanted to do this at the very start, so that way when we create new shapes, it will have the same properties. It will have the narrow margins on the side and the same font size. So all that we have to do now is just change these last two words. So I think that's a Spanish word, it's been a while. And now we have our game. So this might be a plenary activity where the students will ask questions like, is it a verb? And if the answer is no, well, they have to decide which ones to get rid of, and they can click on all the words which are verbs. And it's great at uncovering some misconceptions. Why have they got rid of a certain answer? Why haven't they got rid of something? So it's quite a nice game. It works great as a plenary activity, and it's very, very quick and easy to make. So that's really all the basics you need to know to make your own Guess Who style game. In the next video, I'm going to show some examples where, if you're like me, you may choose to geek this out even more. Until then, I hope you've enjoyed watching, I hope you found it useful, and good luck making your own games.